Hey everybody, welcome back to Chantel's Critters. Today we're going to do a DIY incubator build out of an old beer cooler that we got. We got it from a local scrap guy, so it came with the compressor and all the other stuff already got it out of it, so we don't have to deal with the refrigerant. And there's the helper kitty. He's investigating it already. So we're going to get into it, and I'll show you the process of building an incubator. Okay, I have out on the table everything I think I'm going to need to do this build. We got a drill with a big drill bit. We got fans that we're going to put in. It's got the little transformer plug. I got some LED lights that we're going to put in. I got this wall charger from the dollar store. The lights also came from the dollar store. Electrical cord that we're going to need to wire up the heat tape from the dollar store. A pair of wire strippers. A hole punch to put a hole in the heat tape. Eyelets to connect the cord and the heat tape together with. That's a remote for the LED strips. I got this. It's a leather set, but it has the grommets and the grommet tool to crimp the wires to the heat tape, some electrical tape, the actual heat tape, a power bar to put inside the fridge to hook everything up to, aluminum tape, and some rubber to go on the ends of the heat tape and where the wires connect so you don't get shocked. I just grabbed 3 additional tools because we're going to switch the door so it opens the other way. So we got a ratchet with a 5/16" socket on it. We got a slotted screwdriver and a Phillips screwdriver. So for the process of taking the door off to switch it, we have to undo this screw, and then the plastic will pop off, and then we can get to the hinges to move the hinges around so we can get the door to move. Okay, so once the plastic piece is off, there's a piece of styrofoam under there, I'm guessing to help keep the plastic from vibrating. So now that we got that out of the way, the hinges are up here. So we're going to take this hinge off of this side and switch these two. And then there's a peg at the bottom we're going to have to switch to the other side. Okay, so I have the hinges off the top so far. This bottom hinge is going to have to be unbolted from the bottom of the fridge and put onto this side. But I figure since I already have the door off, I'm going to do the rest of the build with the door off, and then we'll put the door back on the end. Okay, so I'm looking at the fridge and I need to drill a hole for the electric to run through. And I'm thinking right here in the top corner, that way it'll be out of the way of the heat tape. And I can run the heat tape, the probe, and the wires for the LED lights right through that hole. And then I can tape it to the back of the fridge, run it down to where the compressor was, and I'll have it with a power bar and everything under there. Okay, so we got a hole up in the top corner now. So now that that's in there, I'm going to start running the wires that I'm going to need through that hole, and then start doing the connections of the wires and everything inside the fridge. Okay guys, so I'm going to try to put this light strips in. I've cut the USB part off so I can extend the wires. So I'm going to start it up at the top in the middle, run one down the one side and one down the other side, and then run the wires out the back, and then I'll solder and heat shrink the exposed wires and hook them back up to the USB. So I'll be back once I get that done. Okay, so I have the lights put in. These are going to be taped down with duct tape, and they're going to run over to the hole. I just did a trial run with just twisting the wires with some electrical tape before I soldered it to make sure it's all going to work. So the one strand goes from the top all the way down, and it goes to the bottom. And then the second one from the top all the way down the side to the bottom. And now I got the soldering stuff all out, so we're going to solder those wires, and then I'll be back. Okay everybody, so I have these two wires soldered together. So the two light reds that are coming out and the two blacks that are coming out from the lights are wired to two other wires that are going to go out the hole back to the USB plug, and I'm going to solder it back to that, and then it'll plug in and it'll work perfectly fine. Right now I'm going to put the heat shrink on this side. Okay, so I have the heat shrink on there now. I couldn't get it to go all the way up, but the wires are sealed. I'm just going to put some electrical tape just to make sure it doesn't come apart. And then I have the one end that's red marked with a piece of red tape, so when I go to hook it back up, it's all back to the same way it's supposed to be. And before we continue, when we go to put the heat tape on, I should say, I'm going to vacuum out all the little bits of copper and insulation that's in the bottom of the fridge. Okay, for the next part, we're going to wire up the heat tape, and the way you do that is you take a hole puncher, you'll punch a hole in the copper on both sides, and then you'll insert the wire. I switched what wire I'm going to use. I'm going to use the black one because the wife says it'll look nicer. So we're going to put that in there. And then you use the rivets, and then you rivet it together. So I'll do that, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. When you guys are hooking up the connectors to the heat tape, you got to make sure you go in between the plastic layer, not just rivet it to the top, so it makes good connection with the copper strip. Okay, I have the two crimps in place. And then the next step is we're gonna put it in the cooler, and we're gonna tape it down with the aluminum foil tape. So the heat tape's wired. The wire goes through the hole. I have the lights somewhat wired. I just got to put the wires through the hole. I'm going to take black duct tape and tape them to the top of the fridge so you don't see them, and same with the heat tape wires. I'm going to take some black duct tape and tape them so they're up out of the way. Now I'm just going to take the aluminum foil tape, tape the heat tape down. I haven't trimmed it to size yet because I don't know where it's going to end just yet, and then once I trim it, I'll put the rubber on the end so you don't get zapped. Okay, so I have the heat tape tacked into place with the foil tape. Pretty happy. I just have it so it curves around. So there's going to be a shelf here, but it should be fine. We're going to put water bottles probably on that shelf to help maintain the temperature if you open the door. But I'm going to finish with the foil tape, and then after the foil tape I'll come back and show you. Okay, I have all the foil tape in now. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to run the probe in through the hole for the thermostat, and then I'm going to run the wires for the lights out the hole also. Then I'm going to seal that hole with some foil tape on both sides. I don't have any spray foam insulation right now, so if I get some, I'll put it in after. Okay everybody, I have the heat tape in. I have the shelves back in. The temperature probe's back here. I'm just going to have it hang off the middle shelf. The lights are in. So you can change different colors. Help if I put both on. Both sides are on now. Once the door is on, I think it'll hide it a little better, and I think it'll look pretty neat. And I think the only thing left to do now is put some aluminum foil tape on the back hole and put the door back on. After I get the door back on, I'll come back and show you. I might end up scraping the moose head logger off the front of the glass, but I haven't decided yet. We'll see what the boss says. And I'll show you guys in a few minutes again what the finished project looked like. Okay, so I'm about to put the door on. I've gotten everything inside the incubator so far. We have a fan that's wired so it'll blow the hot air from the top of the incubator back down to the bottom of the incubator and keep the air movement. I just have the probe dangling for the thermostat in there right now. I'm not gonna tape it to anything just yet. I want to see how it runs first. All the lights are in. All the stuff goes up through the hole that I drilled into the back. I'm going to put some foil tape on the back so I can peel it back off to move the wires if I need to. We removed the top shelf because when we're putting our egg bins in, we can stack, we can stack 2 on the top, and then we can also stack 2 on the middle shelf. So that should be enough for us anyways. And then we're going to put some water or a tray of water or something down here on the bottom to help regulate the temperature. But I'll be back after I get the door on and we'll plug it in and I'll show you the finished product. Hey everybody, so this is the finished product. The door is on, the heat tape is in, the lights are in, the fan is in, the probe is in. Everything turned out pretty good for an old beer fridge. We're gonna put it over in the pet room. We might put some egg bins in there with the vermiculite, let it run and see how it does before we move any eggs into it. And I hope you guys liked the video. And it was about 5-hour build, and it's probably going to be about a 10-minute video. So please like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more of hognose breeding.